Where have the weirdest Shark Tank companies gone? You see, over the years, the show has seen some ideas ranging from excitement to straight up weird. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the 3 weirdest Shark Tank companies ever. How have these businesses turned out since being pitched? Did weird ever turn to wonderful? Let's find out.
So I have a product that on its surface seems really simple, but there is absolutely nothing like this on the market anywhere right now. You're gonna buy one.
I want to draw a cat for you. Just from the name of this business, you know it's going to be a very weird pitch. And this business is exactly what the name sounds like. It's a company that draws and sells figures of cats. The company, founded by Steve Gadlin, provides customers with custom-made drawings of stick figure cats drawn by the founder himself. It could be a random cat off the top of his very creative head, or a particular image you want. Either way, you're going to get a drawing of a cat made with a Sharpie marker and a sheet of paper. Steve's a Chicago native holding a degree in creative writing from Miami University. Formerly a web developer working with a number of companies like Lifesery, Heitman, and Chicago Public Radio, Steve progressed to web management and eventually began co-creating a call-in comedy show called Talking Funny on Can 21. But all this time working as a creative writer, Steve really hoped to start and successfully run a business with just a random idea. And the random idea he had was to sell custom stick figure cats. He officially launched his site for the business in 2011 as part of a PayPal button and a YouTube video. At the time, he made drawings for users based on their description and a scenario for a fee of $10. But despite the ability to draw up to 25 custom cats in an hour and 1,000 in a week, he was only able to sell 1,200 in a year due to the business not being really scalable.
Hello, Barbara. Hello, gentlemen. My name is Steve Gadlin, and my company is I Want to Draw a Cat for You.
So he decided to come onto the tank with the hopes of getting a seasoned investor in his not-so-seasoned business idea. Steve making his way into the tank on the 3rd season, and right from the get-go, he had the sharks laughing. Steve started with his little shoulder pop dance and his theme song to get the sharks interested. He told the sharks he would like $10,000 for 25% of the company. I want to draw a cat for you. He went on with the pitch explaining how the business worked, revealing the weirdness of the whole setup. According to Steve, certain customers ask him to draw their dead cats, while others might try to come up with a wild story. He continued to explain the speed at which he could complete one image and how cheap the materials he used were. Having filled the sharks in on the intricacies of his company's operation, Steve went on to talk about his plans for business expansion based on knowledge and experience he acquired as a web developer. The sharks began asking their questions, with Robert Herjavec asking about sales. Kevin O'Leary, on the other hand, was interested in knowing how exactly Steve planned on spending the investment money he came in for. The quirky founder responded that he'd hope to hire a team to work with him and eventually branch out to making greeting cards as well.
What do you do with my $10,000 if I give it to you?
What I'd first like to do is build out my e-commerce platform that I have and grow it even further. The other thing I want to do is start dabbling into things like greeting cards.
At this point, the sharks needed to know some more details, and Herjavec mentioned that he, although enjoyed the pitch, needed to know about the profitability growth of this company. Steve explained the profit expansion with creative insight and how the sharks stood to make more profit. Mark Cuban, who'd been watching carefully, piped in about the need for PR above anything else, and this was one part Steve was able to address properly, giving his previous experience partnering up with Groupon. Now at this point, the sharks had begun making up their minds. Kevin O'Leary thought the business wasn't going to make much of a profit, so despite him appreciating the pitch, he was out. The problem with I Want to Draw a Cat for You for Robert was the current profit margin, which, to be fair, was hardly anything. So ultimately, he was out, leaving Mark as the last shark.
These guys just don't get it. I get it. I love your creativity.
Thank you.
I'll give you 25 grand for 33%. Just say yes.
Given that Cuban had seemed the least enthusiastic about the pitch, no one saw it coming, but he made a shocking offer, $25,000 for 33% equity, and Steve was more than happy to take that. He added the condition that Mark contribute one cat drawing himself at specific intervals, one every 1,000 drawings, and the two men shook on it. Although Mark didn't actually draw one out of every 1,000 cats, he did draw 10 and sold each each for a whopping $1,000 each. Now, it's fair to say Steve Gadlin came into the tank expecting to get rejected, but he didn't. Instead, he got a better offer than he'd asked for. And let's just say he made a proper use of that investment, because it's been over a decade since the episode aired, and I Wanna Draw a Cat for You is still a thing. Partnering up with business mogul like Mark Cuban definitely gave Steve publicity. And in the first 2 years after his memorable appearance on the tank, Steve sold 18,794 custom drawings. He also delved into making cat-themed novelty items like t-shirts, and business was going pretty well. However, in January 2015, he announced that I Wanna Draw a Cat for You had run its course, and he was shutting down the business to work on other things. Back in Chicago, he came up with his local show called Gadlin Star Makers, featuring up-and-coming talent to perform in front of his studio audience of literally 2 people. He also went on to film a comedy program called Talkin' Funny. The break didn't last long because of November of the same year, Gadlin had brought the business back into operation. This time, he sold each drawing for $10. Much hasn't been reported on the business since then, but as of 2021, he had upped that price of one drawing to $29.95. And in 2022, Steve announced that he'd be drawing 1 cat per day for the entire year and donating all the money to another artist to support their artistic endeavors for the year 2023. Apart from that business, Steve has become a motivational speaker and has repeatedly used his experience on the tank to encourage people to try even the most unrealistic things. So yeah, even with a very weird pitch, our Sharks investment didn't go to waste. How about this next pitch?
Hello Sharks, my name is Matty Salen and my product is called Wake and Bacon.
Wake and Bacon was brought into the tank on what was the second episode of only the second season of the show. It is essentially an alarm clock invented and pitched by Matty Salen, an entrepreneur with a background in technology and design. Salen's a graduate of the Visual Arts School in New York with a Bachelor of Fine Art degree in Computer Arts and an Interaction Design degree from New York University. Having always relied on a blend of art and technology for most of his inventions, he came up with this idea for Wake and Bacon from simply the love of the aroma. That's right, the inventor was getting his master's at NYU when he took a course that demanded him making a household electronic device. Matty ordinarily wanted to make an alarm clock but decided to remake it by asking his fellow students how they'd rather wake up. And it turned out more people preferred the smell and taste of bacon to anything else. With that in mind, he began experimenting with many materials and equipment, developing a prototype that could work. Eventually, he made his first Wake and Bacon alarm clock out of an old-fashioned wooden one, a pair of halogen lamps, and some tin foil to hold that bacon. The resulting invention is an alarm clock featuring a small grill that cooks pre-loaded slices of bacon. The product's a wooden box with a digital alarm clock and a little compartment for users to place a piece of uncooked bacon the night before. 10 minutes before you wake up, the Wake and Bacon clock starts heating that bacon using halogen bulbs and gradually fills the room with the delicious smell of cooked bacon. And here's the science part. The smell of bacon isn't just nice to the nose, but also has a way tied to feelings of hunger and anticipation, stimulating dopamine release in the brain. It's also been proven that more humans find it more natural and less stressful to wake up to a gradual sensory stimulus, like the smell of bacon, rather than the noise of an alarm. Salen posted that invention online, and it went viral. He soon got emails from people asking for one, so he decided to come onto the tank and get a financial backing, producing Wake and Bacon alarm clocks at mass production. Matty came up to the Sharks, starting his pitch off with a bit of humor, before announcing he was looking for $40,000 in exchange for 20%, meaning a $200,000 valuation for Wake and Bacon. He told the Sharks that he would take their money and put it into general features, including safety, and of course, initiate mass production.
Can we try it?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I've got some for you right now.
He continued to explain the thought behind the invention before showing him the working principle and explaining the features of his prototype. Matt also gets the Sharks trying out some of these samples from the machine, probably hoping to get to their hearts through their mouths. Not that it worked though. Kevin and Mark immediately found the whole idea too funny, adding the fact that most people just want to have a mini oven next to their beds. On the other hand, Daymond John here seems a bit interested in this invention, but Matty's pitch started getting sour when the Sharks threw their question questions. First, Kevin wants to know about pricing, to which Salen said the unit would cost around $13. That was decent pricing, but it became less impressive when Robert Herjavec's question forced Maddie to reveal he doesn't even have a projection of how many units he'll be able to sell.
You think you could sell how many units?
I'm not sure. I don't have a projection of how many units I could sell.
At least throw out a forecast, say 1.26 million in the first quarter. Even if you're lying to me, at least that's interesting. You got no projections whatsoever. You got a pig box that's gonna catch on fire and kill somebody. I'm gonna be sued into the Stone Age.
Things get even worse for him when the issue of safety is brought up, and it doesn't look like he has any answers. Kevin O'Leary is the first to declare he is out. Next, Barbara here also opts out, stating she believed the concept would make a great novelty gift, but not a great day-to-day home item. Just the idea of cooking in one's bedroom is enough to drop Robert and Daymond, leaving Mark Cuban.
And being very interested is you needed $170,000. You only asked for 40.
I'm now asking for $170,000.
Mark, are you really interested in this?
I like the idea.
You really think cooking bacon bedside is a good idea?
Now, Cuban initially seems a bit interested, asking this guy his minimum demand for production cost. The two seem to be coming towards an agreement, but unlike the cat drawing pitch, Mark here eventually doesn't buy into Maddie Salen's idea and also goes out. Maddie had to walk out of that tank without a deal, but just being on the tank brought a ton of attention to his invention. However, all that attention wasn't enough to get this pig-shaped wake and bacon alarm clock to go into mass production. After the show and a number of analyses over the media, it soon became evident that the shark's safety concerns were more than legitimate. In fact, a Watch Mojo had to point out that the bacon being put in before the user sleeps is sitting there left unrefrigerated for several hours before that time is set off. Now that's a big no-no when it comes to meaty foods, so despite the preliminary inquiries about purchasing the product, the wake and bacon idea never materialized. The prototype never even got a successor, and the idea hasn't been revitalized by anyone thus far. As for Maddie, after his failed Shark Tank pitch, he moved on to other jobs. According to his website and LinkedIn, Maddie's a production assistant who worked on the Titanic and now works in the tech industry. He's also been CEO of a 3-person tech startup, worked as a front-end web developer, and is also a software engineer. He's been listed as a full-stack developer for the National Democratic Training Committee and appears to be based out of Portland, Oregon. More recently, Maddie has joined a financial technology company named Phoenix. It's hard to say how well he's doing personally, but we're pretty sure the Wake and Bacon company never came into full existence. So, one hit, one miss. Let's check out our last case for the tiebreaker.
Hello, my name is Dr. Floyd Seskin, and my product is the Euro Club.
Dr. Floyd Seskin came onto this tank with his invention, the Euro Club, which is probably the weirdest of all Shark Tank ideas. The Euro Club is a fictitious golf club like any other 7-iron, except it has a broader grip. Now what makes it really special and weird is the fact that it has a urine reservoir. You heard that right. The club's designed with a triple sealed screw-on cap and a privacy shield minimizing indecent exposure on golf courses. This guy put a bathroom and a golf club together for you people without having to excuse yourself from having a good time. Now, we know what you're thinking. Where did he come up with this? Well, Dr. Floyd Seskin's a urologist and surgeon who, at the time of his Shark Tank appearance, had worked in that field for nearly 18 years. And according to him, many of his patients had told him about the difficulty of holding back their urine for extended periods, particularly during recreational activities, specifically for golfers, given how far the restrooms are from the main course. As a result, the doctor who runs a successful clinic in Florida decided to come up with the Club of Clubs. For him, coming to the tank was more about getting the connections, distribution, and production capabilities the Sharks possess than any other thing. So he comes into this tank, confidently, starting his pitch, announcing he's looking for $25,000 in exchange for 51% in his company. Next, the doctor goes about the details. It didn't take really long to get weird, and Daymond John here seemed worried about the weirdness, while Robert, Kevin, and Barbara here found it extremely funny. Floyd goes on with the pitch, announcing the presence of a pipe fitter, ensuring that this club never leaks. And that's not all. There's also a towel you hook up to the front and your waist to give you that privacy you need. Kevin O'Leary makes a joke about the doctor developing the Euro Club for women, while Daymond points out that given how much water people do drink on the green, one club ain't gonna hold all that urine. An idea seconded by Robert, who states that the Euro Euro Club just seems so small. When the doctor showed the Sharks one of the clubs, Kevin Harrington said that even though he's a golfer himself, he thought the Euro Club was more of a gag item than anything else. When questioned about the price and production, Dr. Floyd announced that one club costs about $8.50 and sells at around $25 plus a $10 shipping and handling fee. He also told him that he sold over 3,000 of these clubs, having put up a commercial on many local TV channels in South Florida and having a website for the product. The Sharks go on with their questions, and it's revealed he's put over $300,000 of his own money into this product and has an inventory of more than 12,000 units. When questioned about the generous offer of 51% for just $25,000, the doctor stated that he doesn't need the money, but is rather looking for a strategic partner. At this point, Daymond says he's out because he doesn't know much about the golf market. Barbara bows out for a similar reason, and so do two others. Surprisingly, Kevin Harrington comes up with a $25,000 for 70% of the company because he believes this is a novelty-type product. The doctor takes the deal, leaving the Sharks surprisingly very happy. And why wouldn't he? We're sure most people didn't think this would get a deal. In a closing interview, he said that he would have accepted something even less as long as he got a shark to partner with him. And guess what? Despite the episode airing well over a dozen years ago on season 1, the Euro Club company is still in business, now selling at a per unit price of $19.99 and a box of 6 costing $90. The company has now doubled its valuation of $50,000 at the time of its appearance on the tank. And yeah, Dr. Floyd is still the CEO. Given his Shark Tank appearance was never about the money, it's fair to say this case is also a win for everyone involved.